Today I'm going to show you how to get this look. I'm going to do this mostly with a spray bottle and a paintbrush here and there and some spray wax. So time-wise, it is a really quick project. It is a fun project and you can get this look and have a lot of fun doing it in a lot less time than a normal chalk paint or painting project. This is the kind of spray bottle you want to get for this project. This is from Dollar General, but you can get these at department stores and hardware stores. One thing you want is the cap to screw off, because that lets you clean this out should you get a clog in there. The other thing this one has is it's got a filter on the end, and that keeps like big chunks of stuff from coming up. This is a black paint project we're doing. This is just a bottle that has the blue in it. Spray bottles have some type of measuring lines on the side. You just have to do half chalk paint and half water. You can use any type of chalk paint you want, including homemade DIY chalk paint. In between coats, if you're doing more than one coat, unscrew the cap to the bottle, drop it in a bucket of water, and turn your spray bottle upside down. That will keep your nozzle from getting clogged up. And when you're ready for the next coat, just wipe off the bottle and the cap, adjust your spray to where you have a good spray, and you are good to go. The first thing you want to do is paint a base coat on your project. You can either spray this on or you can brush it on, but I've already done my base coat here, and so we will move on to the next step. I'm using a total of 3 colors on this project. I'm using black, white, and medium gray. I made my medium gray by mixing my black and white together, but you can buy pre-made medium gray if you want to. I'm using a combination of 2 different bottles. One has half chalk paint and half water, and the other one has just water. I use the bottle of water to help move the chalk paint if it is not flowing down the piece the way I want it to. And I'm also using it because today it is hot outside, so the paint dries very fast. So if I spray water before and after applying the chalk paint, then it helps the chalk paint run down and create these drips that I like. After you spray the paint on and the water on, if you're using water, it will take probably 10 minutes before the paint completely stops flowing. So if you just keep an eye on it, you can kind of see what it's doing and see if you want to add more paint or add more water. I am definitely using more water today than normal. If it weren't for the sun, I would not be spraying the water on this piece before the paint, but you just have to spray your paint on there and see if it's flowing the way you want it to, and then you can determine how much you need to spray it with water. I'm going to let this dry for 2 hours. That will be good, especially considering how hot it is. Longer is never a bad thing when it comes to drying paint, so if you want to do it longer, that's great. Now I'm going to use black paint and use the exact same technique as I did with the white paint. I don't want my paint to run quite as much as I did with the white paint, so I'm just using less water here. I want to get good coverage with this black paint, but yet still let some of the white show through. So just less water. You can kind of tell as you do it what you need to do so far as the water goes. When you are using dark colors, especially black, you will notice that when you put the fresh paint on, it is always darker than it will be in the end once it dries. This paint looks very black right now, but it will be much lighter or somewhat lighter once it dries, and you will see even more highlights that you cannot see right now when the paint is wet. You can come back and touch this up as much as you want. So if you just want to kind of know what it's going to look like when you're done, you can do this and then just wait and see how it looks when it dries, and you can fix whatever places need to be fixed if they need to be fixed. The cracks and crevices in this piece, I do not want to put a lot of black paint on because I want to see the whitish gray color come through after it's done. I am not going to sand this piece, so whatever I have showing when it's done is what will be showing. You can see the outline around these centerpieces has very little paint on it, and that is exactly what I want to do. In the same way you would sand to distress a piece, in those places, those are the places that I am just going to put less paint. Once I have this all on here, I'm going to let it dry for 2 hours. And again, longer is always better when it comes to paint, but I'm going to give it 2 hours and it will be plenty dry in this heat. This is what it looks like. I let it dry overnight. And the places where there's too much white or anything I don't like, I'm just gonna dry brush this. I'm not gonna spend more than 5 minutes doing that, just to get any of the white places or other places that I don't like. I'm just gonna dry brush them. So I know a lot of you already know, but dry brushing is literally just getting a little bit of paint on your brush till it is as dry of paint as it can be, but it's got a tiny bit in there that will show up. Anything that looks too drippy, I'm just going to go over a little bit. Now you could come back with a spray bottle and do this, but I think this will be a lot quicker and I can get it exactly how I want it. Well, probably less than 5 minutes to dry brush this. I fixed all the spots I didn't like with the dry brushing, and the paint I used was the top coat color, the black color, and I just used what was left out of the spray bottle from when I sprayed it yesterday. So you can use either your original paint, but if you have some in the spray bottle, it's a great way to make use of it. So I'm going to let this dry for 4 hours. If you can go longer and wait overnight, that's even better. I may try to do that, but you want this nice and dry before you put on your top coat. For a top coat on this, I am going to use a spray wax that is made by Heirloom Traditions. I would not recommend using a heavy wax on this, like the Minwax Paste Wax, or even a heavy wax that you paint on. I would recommend using a spray wax or a spray polyacrylic or spray polyurethane. The reason is because darker colors will look more like one color if you put a heavy wax coating on them. It kind of covers up the distressing that you have done or the white that's in the black paint. So I'm just doing a spray wax. I'm going to start at the higher points and I'm going to spray this piece probably 2 coats, and if there's anything that is too heavy or drippy, I'm just going to run through it with the brush. So this is my finished project. I only did 1 coat of wax because the more wax you put on dark paint, the more likely you are to lose some of your distressing effects and colors that you put into it. So it covered well with 1. I'm just going to leave it at that. So here's what it looks like. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and check back often. I put up new videos all the time. Thank you.